Opinions and ideas expressed in the following Moraine Valley Broadcast Channel recording are those of its creators and do not represent the views of Moraine Valley Community College.
Welcome to 143.8 KISS FM, located in Palos Hills. I'm Peter.
And I'm Tyler.
And I'm Nikita.
And today we're going to be talking about the legendary Fight for 15. And let's get started, guys. This is going to be our talk show for today. So I'm personally, when I first started like this research, because I wasn't really educated, if I'm being honest, about this topic, you know.
I agree with you.
You agree? Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't really think the public is necessarily really educated about the topic as much as they should be, but yet a lot of people have really strong opinions about it. So at first, I mean, I was against it, you know. And I think most of the public is against it. But after really learning about this and seeing the facts and what is really happening in the situation, I really have become open-minded to it.
I agree with you on that one, Peter. The more I looked into it, the more information I got, knowledge, background, and I changed my opinion and views on it.
So what were your opinions like when you first started?
Personally, it was I was for it, but then I was against it because
Wait. So you were for the Fight for 15, and then you turned to be against the Fight for 15?
No, at the beginning I had mixed emotions.
Mixed emotions.
Yes, I had mixed emotions, Peter. And the reason why I had mixed emotions was because I feel like, yes, there should be an increase on it, but depending on your position and what your job you're doing, it should not be more than people who has college degrees and doing something or have to do a more difficult job, which basically is risking more of their life or others' life trying to, you know, keep them alive and stuff, instead of flipping burgers and, you know, something you don't even need a degree for. You don't even have to graduate to work in the food industry, you know?
So you're saying like someone, let's say, that's working as an ambulance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Making $15 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
If this change happened and now these people who were flipping burgers are making $15 an hour, you think these ambulance should get a raise then, like $20 an hour?
Correct.
Okay.
Because they have a more dangerous job than someone
and more skills. And
yes.
Okay. How about you, Nikita?
So in the beginning, I think I was against it, and then I went for it, and now I think I'm against it more because I feel like...
Like you feel like you're more against it than you initially were?
Yeah, because I was against it, and then like hearing what people were saying, I was for it, and then I guess the facts, I'm against it now.
Okay.
Because I feel like people who work in fast foods, like, it doesn't require, like, a lot of skill, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then people who are, like, doctors and lawyers that require, like, a ton of schooling and skill should get more than people who just work at, like, McDonald's or something like that. So, yeah, I think I'd be against it.
Okay, so I see your guys' viewpoints, but if we look at the facts, the reason why this Fight for 15 is happening right now is because the minimum wage has not changed in a very long time for these people who are working at these jobs, right?
Which is correct.
So the people who are getting paid, you know, more, the ambulance people, just everyone as a whole has kind of been going not necessarily much higher than what they were, but they have gotten a better pay. While these people who are working minimum wage have been working at this low wage for a very long time. So that's why there's this huge, like, Fight for 15. They need this jump to kind of catch up for lost time where they were not being paid the right amount.
Okay, I understand you on that one, but then again, if that's the case, minimum wage as a whole should be raised, not just, I feel like to $15 would kind of be way too much, because if you think about it, if you're working at fast food, there could be a manager or someone higher than a crew member making that much. So that means when that goes up, they already is going to go up. So what, they'll be making $20 an hour to be a manager at McDonald's, which I feel like that is unnecessary. Because half the time, if you go to McDonald's or if you worked in fast food, there's some managers that would sit there all day and not do a thing but make so much money.
So what about the person that's on top, right? The person that's the boss of these fast food corporations and franchises who are pocketing millions and millions and millions of dollars from these workers who are doing the actual work, you know, who are getting paid the least amount, and not only the least amount, but not what they should have been getting paid based upon time, while these people who are on top are just banking all this money and kind of having so much where they don't know what to do with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
While these people who are lower, they're getting paid less. Now they're being on food stamps. Now they're getting housing by the government and many other things to kind of substitute their low pays. Should we let these corporations pay so little where now the government has to step in? I don't know. There's just a different take on it. What do you think, Nikita, about the minimum wage and where it's at currently?
I feel like if a business is receiving like a lot of money, like if it's a well business, that they shouldn't be paying the workers little, because if they can afford it, they should be raising the minimum wage so at least the employees can support themselves and they don't always have to depend on the government for help.
See, that's
exactly.
That's
a
a
good
very
point.
interesting point too, as she's just stated. So you're saying that if you can afford it, you should be paying a better amount.
I agree to that one.
I agree to that as well. So I don't think that's a huge thing too. This fight for 15 shouldn't necessarily be, you know, the government should not have to say this is going to be the minimum wage now. This is what you guys have to pay, because then you're going to be forcing a lot of smaller companies. A lot of companies aren't in the food industry, and I think at that point you kind of step the bar too far, where now the minimum wage is just being higher. You know, it's still going to be the minimum wage. So I think that these certain corporations that are making and making so much money should raise their wage. Just maybe not necessarily $15, but definitely higher than what it is currently.
Correct. Like, I feel like if, like she was saying, like, say, big-time fast food companies, like, if you have enough money to do all this advertisement, all these sales and all this other stuff, at least the government shouldn't have to step in. Like, you're so well-known, at least raise it as your company alone, you know? So, like, their company, they could be making this amount an hour just at that company because that's what they can afford.
Okay, so another huge standpoint about this, though, is kind of why the public is so against it. And I think it's really because of the economy. They know it's hurting, and they're afraid that raising this minimum wage
it's going to hurt more.
Or it's going to make it hurt more. But if you look at it, countries like Denmark and Australia who are paying their employees $20 per hour, and the Big Mac is really only going up like 40-50 cents. So I think they're kind of showing that it's not really having a huge impact on the economy as we really think it will have. But there's a lot of different economists who say that it will affect it, some that say it won't, and some that say we don't really know. What do you guys think?
I feel like with that being said, I would agree or understand where they're coming from. Where
The public?
Yeah. Like how it could be a hit or miss with, you know, with raising it, because some of the things now, but then again, half the, like, restaurants or locations that have all this stuff, not each one will be the same because half of them are franchised. So whoever owns the restaurant, they already picked the prices of the menu items. So if they was to choose to make it more, then they should choose to hire their crew's salary. That's what I feel.
Okay, one thing I really want to talk about is the public's persona about these people who want this fight for 15. So if you Google, which we all looked at the memes, there's a lot of memes that are really going against and that are bashing these Fight for 15 motives, But at the end, these are people's lives, There is a mom that is working at this fast food place. Yeah, maybe she didn't decide to be there. Maybe she doesn't want to be there. But the current issue is she is there.
Yes.
She is fighting for a higher wage. Is it okay that the public basically antagonizes that viewpoint and kind of downplays her situation when at the end of the day she could be your mom?
Yeah.
I think that some people think that maybe she wouldn't deserve it, like, because she doesn't, like, maybe they feel like she wouldn't want to better herself, and, like, she doesn't work hard enough to earn that $15 an hour.
Yeah, I agree, because you like, with these corporations, you don't know what that person's background is, or, like, what they've gone through to even, like, get to that point, to even have to, like, settle for such less amount of money. Like, you don't know who's in their house, who they have to feed, how many people they have to feed and take care of just to put a roof over their heads and clothes on their back, So I agree on that standpoint that it should be risen.
I think Nikita pointed out a great point. We feel like they don't deserve
Yes.
the $15. And at the end, I feel like that is the biggest point. We don't. We say there's an ambulance person or someone who has a higher skill set who is being paid $15 an hour, and we automatically compare that to someone who's working at, let's say, McDonald's. Should they get paid the exact same amount as someone that has these skill sets? And that's where we have that big persona from the public who feel like they do not deserve the $15. And that's when I become, like, that's hard to process, but I kind of leave, when I look at that specific topic, I leave my deserving, empathy feeling, I leave all that out. I don't think about that. I think of the facts. These corporations are taking in millions of dollars. They're not doing anything with it. They're keeping it to themselves. Now, do they deserve the millions of dollars in their pockets?
No.
Compared to the family who does not have it, who is living on government assistance. Alright, guys, so that is all we have today for 148.3 Kiss FM. I'm Peter.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Nikita.
And we thank you for enjoying this talk show about the Fight for 15.